My husband slammed the bills on the dinner table and looked at me with disgust. You don't even work. I pay for everything. You should be grateful I keep a roof over your head. I sat there in silence, my hands shaking, tears forming in my eyes. He thought he funded our home. He thought he was the provider. He thought I owed him everything. But what he didn't know was the truth. A truth that would destroy everything he believed about himself. And when he finally discovered it, his entire world came crashing down. My name is Julia Carson. I'm 35 years old, and I live in a quiet suburban neighborhood in Charlotte, North Carolina. From the outside, my life looks perfectly normal. A beautiful 3-bedroom house with a white fence. A husband who works in finance. A peaceful, quiet existence. But inside that house, I was slowly being suffocated by a man who thought he owned me. I've been married to my husband, Ryan, for 4 years. We met through mutual friends at a weekend barbecue. He was confident, successful, and charming. He worked as a financial analyst at a well-known investment firm. He drove a nice car. He wore expensive suits. He had ambition. I was working as an operations manager at a small logistics company. I made decent money. I was independent. I had my own savings. But when Ryan and I got serious, things started to change. About a year into our relationship, I got pregnant. It wasn't planned, but I was happy. Ryan seemed happy too at first. But then he started suggesting I quit my job. You're going to be a mom now. You should focus on that. I'll take care of everything financially. You don't need to stress about work. He said it so sweetly. So lovingly. I thought he was being supportive. I thought he wanted to help. So I quit. I stayed home. I prepared for the baby. But 3 months into my pregnancy, I miscarried. It was devastating. I cried for weeks. I felt empty. I felt lost. Ryan was there, but not really. He didn't know how to comfort me. He just told me to move on. To try again. To not dwell on it. I wanted to go back to work. I needed a distraction. I needed purpose. But Ryan said, you just went through something traumatic. Take more time. Stay home. Rest. I'll handle everything. So I stayed. And I stayed. And I stayed. But after a few months, his tone changed. The supportive husband turned into something else. He started making comments. So what do you do all day? Must be nice to just relax while I'm working. You know, I'm the only one paying bills here. At first, I tried to laugh it off. I tried to explain that I was still healing emotionally. That I was thinking about going back to work. But every time I mentioned it, he'd say, why? I make enough. We don't need your income. So I stopped bringing it up. I stopped defending myself. I just stayed quiet. And the insults got worse. Ryan started calling me lazy. He'd come home from work and find me reading or cooking or cleaning, and he'd say, must be nice to have no responsibilities. He'd compare me to his co-workers' wives who had careers. Amanda's wife is a lawyer. Brad's wife runs her own business. What do you do? He mocked me in front of his friends. One night, we had a dinner party at our house. Ryan's college buddies came over with their partners. We were all sitting around the table, and one of his friends asked me what I did for work. Before I could answer, Ryan jumped in. Julia doesn't work. She stays home. I take care of everything. He said it with a smirk. Like it was a joke. His friends laughed awkwardly. I felt my face burn with embarrassment. Another time, we were visiting his parents. His mother asked me how I was doing, and Ryan answered for me again. She's fine. She's got the easiest life. No job. No stress. Just me carrying this entire marriage alone. His mother gave me a pitying look. Like I was some helpless charity case. Every argument we had, he'd bring up money. I pay the mortgage. I pay the utilities. I pay for your groceries, your clothes, everything. You contribute nothing. He'd say it with so much venom. So much contempt. Like I was worthless. I started to believe him. I started to feel ashamed. I started to feel like a burden. I stopped buying things for myself. I stopped asking for anything. I made myself as small and invisible as possible. Because I didn't want to give him another reason to remind me that I didn't deserve what I had. But what Ryan didn't know was that I had a secret. A secret so big that if he ever found out, it would shatter everything he thought he knew. I wasn't jobless by choice. I wasn't dependent on him because I was lazy or incapable. I was protecting something. Something sacred. Something my mother made me promise to keep private. When I was 26, my parents died in a car accident. It was sudden. Devastating. They were driving home from a weekend trip and got hit by a drunk driver. They didn't survive. I was their only child. Everything they had, they left to me. My father was a successful small business owner. He owned a chain of hardware stores across North Carolina. My mother was a real estate investor. Together, they built a comfortable life. They weren't millionaires, but they were smart with their money. They saved. They invested. They planned for the future. When they passed, I inherited everything. Their savings. Their properties. Their business shares. Their investment portfolios. The total value was just over $1.2 million. But before my mother died, she made me promise something. We were sitting in the hospital after the accident. She was barely conscious. She held my hand and whispered, "Don't tell anyone about the money, Julia. People change when they know you have it. Stay humble. Stay quiet. Protect yourself." I promised her I would. And I kept that promise. When I met Ryan, I didn't tell him. I didn't tell him about the inheritance. I didn't tell him about the trust fund my parents set up for me. I didn't tell him that I had more money than he'd ever seen in his life. I stayed quiet. I stayed humble. Just like my mother asked. When we bought our house, Ryan thought he was the one funding it. He thought his paycheck was covering the down payment. But the truth was, I paid for the entire house. The down payment came from my trust fund. The mortgage was being paid automatically from my account. The renovations we did last year? I paid for those too. The new furniture? Me. The new appliances? Me. Everything. But I let him believe it was all him. Because I didn't want to hurt his pride. Because I didn't want him to feel less than. Because I thought I was protecting our marriage. I was wrong. Ryan loved to brag about the house. He'd tell his friends, "Yeah, I worked my ass off to buy this place. Saved for years. Made it happen." He'd show people around like he was giving a tour of his personal achievement. I picked out the floors. I paid for the kitchen remodel. I did all of this. Every time he said it, I'd feel a knot in my stomach. But I stayed quiet. I let him have his moment. I let him feel important. But the comments kept getting worse. The insults kept escalating. And I started to wonder if staying silent was the right choice. If protecting his ego was worth sacrificing my own dignity. One night, about 3 months ago, we had the worst fight we'd ever had. Ryan came home late from a work dinner. He'd been drinking. He was in a bad mood. He walked into the kitchen where I was cleaning up and said, "Why is this house such a mess?" I looked around. The house was spotless. "It's not a mess, Ryan." "Yes, it is. You have one job, Julia. One job. Keep the house clean. And you can't even do that." I cleaned all day. The house is clean. He slammed his hand on the counter. "You know what? I'm tired of this. I'm tired of supporting you. I'm tired of paying for everything while you sit around doing nothing." "I don't do nothing." "Yes, you do. You don't work. You don't earn money. You just live off me like a parasite." I felt tears streaming down my face. "That's not fair." "Fair? You want to talk about fair? I own this house. I pay for everything. Without me, you'd be homeless. You'd have nothing. You should be on your knees thanking me every single day for keeping a roof over your head." I stood there, frozen. I couldn't speak. I couldn't move. He grabbed his keys and stormed out, slamming the door so hard the walls shook. I sank to the floor and cried. I cried for hours. I cried because I'd let it get to this point. I cried because I'd stayed silent for so long. I cried because I realized I couldn't do it anymore. The next morning, Ryan acted like nothing happened. He came downstairs, made coffee, and left for work without saying a word. I sat at the kitchen table, staring at my phone. I thought about my mother. About the promise I made. About staying humble. About staying quiet. But then I thought about Ryan's words. "I own this house. Without me, you'd be homeless." And I realized something. Staying silent wasn't protecting me. It was destroying me. I went upstairs to our bedroom. In the back of my closet, hidden behind a box of old clothes, was a locked filing cabinet. Inside were all the documents I'd kept hidden. The house deed. The trust fund statements. The mortgage payment records. The investment portfolios. Everything. I pulled them out and spread them across the bed. I stared at them. All these years I'd been hiding the truth. But for what? To protect a man who didn't even respect me. I decided it was time. Time for Ryan to know the truth. That evening, Ryan came home from work. He was in a better mood. He kissed me on the forehead and said, "What's for dinner?" I was sitting at the dining table. The documents were laid out in front of me. He looked at them, confused. What's all this? Sit down, Ryan. He sat. What's going on? I took a deep breath. You said you own this house. I do. No. You don't. He laughed. What are you talking about? I slid the house deed across the table. Look at the name on this. He picked it up. His eyes scanned the document. His face went pale. This says your name. Yes. Why is your name on the deed? Because I bought this house. He shook his head. No. We bought it together. No, Ryan. I bought it. The down payment came from my trust fund. The mortgage is paid automatically from my account. Every single payment has come from me. Not you. He stared at the deed. What trust fund? I slid the trust fund statements toward him. When my parents died, they left me everything. Their savings. Their properties. Their investments. Over $1.2 million. I've had it this entire time. His hands were shaking. You've had $1 million this whole time? Yes. And you didn't tell me? No. Why? Because my mother made me promise to keep it private. She told me people change when they know you have money. She told me to stay humble. To stay quiet. To protect myself. He looked at the mortgage statements. So you've been paying the mortgage this whole time? Yes. Every month. Automatically. You've never paid a single cent toward this house. He dropped the papers. I don't understand. You insulted me for not working. You called me lazy. You told me I was a parasite. You told me I should be grateful you keep a roof over my head. But Ryan, you've never kept a roof over my head. I've been keeping a roof over yours. He stood up, running his hands through his hair. Why didn't you tell me? Because every time I tried to talk about going back to work, you told me not to. Every time I tried to contribute, you shut me down. You wanted me to be dependent on you. You needed to feel like the provider. So I let you. I let you believe you were funding everything. But I wasn't dependent on you, Ryan. You were dependent on me. He sat back down, his face in his hands. I didn't know. You didn't want to know. You wanted to feel superior. You wanted to feel like you were the man of the house. But you built your entire identity on a lie. He looked up at me, tears in his eyes. Julia, I'm sorry. I didn't mean. Yes, you did. You meant every word. You insulted me. You humiliated me. You made me feel worthless. While I was the one holding everything together. I didn't know you had money. You shouldn't have needed to know. You should have respected me either way. But you didn't. You only valued me when you thought I needed you. The moment you thought I was dependent, you treated me like trash. Ryan begged me to forgive him. He cried. He apologized over and over. He said he didn't know. He said he was insecure. He said he was wrong. But I was done. I'd spent 4 years making myself small for him. 4 years hiding my truth to protect his ego. 4 years being insulted and humiliated while secretly funding the life he bragged about. I told him I needed space. I told him I was going to stay with a friend for a while. I told him I'd decide what to do next. He panicked. Are you leaving me? I don't know yet. Please don't. I'll change. I swear. You had 4 years to change, Ryan. You didn't. I packed a bag and left. I stayed with my best friend Maya for 2 weeks. I thought about everything. I thought about whether I could forgive him. Whether I could trust him again. Whether our marriage was worth saving. And I realized something. I didn't want to be with someone who only respected me when they found out I had money. I didn't want to be with someone who needed me to be weak so they could feel strong. 3 weeks later, I filed for divorce. Ryan tried to fight it. He begged me to reconsider. He said he loved me. He said he'd go to therapy. He said he'd do anything. But I'd already made my decision. The papers were signed. The house stayed in my name. Ryan moved out. I changed the locks. For the first time in 4 years, I felt free. I felt powerful. I felt like myself again. I started working again. I started managing my investments. I started living the life my parents built for me. The life I'd been hiding. And Ryan? He moved into a small apartment across town. He lost the house he thought he owned. He lost the wife he thought depended on him. He lost everything. Because he never realized that the woman he insulted was the woman keeping him afloat. Some women work in silence. Their power speaks for them. Never insult the woman who may be keeping you alive. He thought he funded the house. But he discovered who really held the key. And by the time he learned the truth, it was too late. Have you ever been underestimated by someone who thought they were superior? Have you ever been insulted for not working when you were actually the one holding everything together? Tell me your story in the comments. And if you want more stories like this, let me know. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for listening.